Hello and assalamu alaikum everyone. So today's lecture we're going to talk about just-in-time inventory management inventory control method, and this is the last lecture of inventory management and as well as the fourth unit of operations. So thank you all for the support and watching the lectures for etc. And if there's something that you have missed out, then do watch out those lectures as well. So just-in-time inventory control method. It is basically a stock control method that aims to avoid holding stocks by requiring supplies to arrive just when they are needed in production. JIT involves careful planned scheduling, and flow of resources through the production process, and supplies are delivered right to the production consumption line only when needed. So I've read this out, and but some of you might still be confused about what a JIT is. So basically, in easy words, it is an supply demand pull system. Like when someone places an order to you, when your customers place an order to you, then you order stocks from suppliers, they arrive to production as soon as possible. Then you have flexible workforces and machineries because of which you can quickly have those raw materials or semi finished goods, make them go through the production process and supply them to the supply them to the customers. So basically, you order. Repeat it again. You order goods from suppliers only when customers order goods from you. Then supplies come to you. You make the production process occurs, and they are converted to finished goods, and then it is sold to consumers. So that's the whole idea behind it, that you don't need to have storage facilities etc for holding those costs. You only order stocks when they're needed, and immediately they are made to go through production process and delivered. So there's no such need for holding stocks. So it avoids this major cost of holding stocks. So advantages, it is of course that funds are not tied up in inventory, and funds not tied up in inventory can be used elsewhere. So since you are not holding inventories, you're not holding stocks, that warehousing cost, that the fund that you had for warehousing cost, it could be used somewhere else. Storage areas can be used for more productive processes. So if you already had storage areas, you could use it for training employees or other processes. Capital investment in stock is reduced as is opportunity cost of stock holding. So you don't have to invest more in the investment in stock is reduced, so you don't have to invest directly in buying large quantities of stocks. Like your warehousing, it's just the point about your warehousing costs, your insurance costs, your security costs, all related to your storage costs. Basically, the storage of stocks, all these costs related to the storage of costs, all these costs are reduced, and so is the opportunity cost of stock holding. The danger of out of date stocks is reduced, thereby reducing wastage, that is your obsolescence, the issues of obsolescence, like your fresh foods getting expired, or your technological items perhaps becoming outdated. All that danger is also reduced. So whenever you use JIT, you already get the updated or latest equipment or fresh food items. Okay, so you always provide your customer with fresh items, and there's no out of date stocks. It overall reduces your wastage. There's also greater customer satisfaction as consumers get their goods on time. They're not out of stock. But of course, when using JIT, you give your customers a specific time, that okay, you order at this time, and we'll provide your order, we'll fulfill your order in so and so time, let's say 1 week or like 3 to 4 days. And so the consumers know, okay, we'll get the order, and if it is fulfilled in time, then of course there's greater customer satisfaction. But in order to achieve this, you need to have good supplier relationships. Okay, we're going to talk about that when disadvantages. The parts used in production may be newer, more up to date, and at lower cost. So as we discussed, that since you don't stock before, the out of date issues were reduced, there's no obsolescence problem, the items you're getting is fresh or technological advanced, you're getting new items, more up-to-date items basically. So these are all the advantages of using JIT method. Now of course there are some disadvantages as well, that it requires excellent relations with suppliers. A minor disruption in production from just one supplier can force a manufacturer to stop production at very short notice. So if you don't get supplies on time, then probably then of course your production process is disturbed, and you might even have to stop production at very short notice, and you won't be able to meet your customer requirements, customer demands. If that happens, because of which there could be customer dissatisfaction. So a good relationship with supplier is very necessary, is the essence of JIT method, that it should be there. It is a necessity for good JIT. Administrative costs may increase. Cost of holding production to wait for supplies may be higher. So you need to, the administration of all this management system will increase, of course, because there will be costs if you halt your production and wait for suppliers. And these costs may be high because you are actually losing out your potential sales if you are halting your production process. So your suppliers need to arrive as soon as possible. The production staff needs to be multi-skilled and flexible. So as soon as the stocks arrive, they can be multi-skilled and flexible, so that they can convert that, go through the transformation process ASAP, convert the raw materials into finished goods as soon as possible and as per the needs of customers, so that they can also give quantity and quality. Both should be there in the production staff, in the production process. The delivery cost may be high due to frequent small orders. So if you are ordering, instead of ordering one large order, you are ordering small frequent orders, so of course there will be higher delivery costs, and business using JIT is generally not able to benefit from bulk purchasing. So instead you can't generally have large orders, you are just ordering when you need it, so they're generally small orders. So small orders means that you can't have bulk purchasing or economies of scale. Very accurate demand forecasts are required for production schedule. That is, it is difficult for retailers to calculate customer demand. So if you can't calculate, if the retailers can't calculate customer demand, then that is going to be an issue, because you need accurate demand forecast for production schedule. The scheduling of your employees and machineries, etc., it needs to be scheduled in advance. And it may be better to hold and store stocks with rising inflation. So since inflation is increasing, so at a later date the goods that you are buying, they may be sold at a higher price. If instead you just had stocked it before inflation, like you had a bulk purchase, instead of using JIT you had a bulk purchase, and you already have stored stocks, then you don't need to buy the stocks at a higher price later on. So for some businesses it is better to hold and store stocks instead of using JIT. So we've discussed the advantages and disadvantages. So we have come to we need to evaluate that, is JIT an efficient method of controlling inventory or not? So should a business go for JIT or not? Well, there are a lot of potential advantages of moving to JIT inventory control method, but there are also some certain requirements, such as good relationships with suppliers and drawbacks of using JIT, that might make the system ineffective for all sizes and types of business. So ineffective for all sizes, types of business means that basically it's not effective for all types of businesses. It will be effective and efficient for certain types of businesses, those who are credible businesses, those who had good suppliers with good relationships with suppliers, and those who have good brand image. But not for all businesses, especially those who don't have good supplier relationships, or maybe for small businesses. So individual and particular company circumstances will determine the viability of adopting JIT. So it will vary on depend on business to business. So sometimes you will be given a question for 8 mark or 12 mark, evaluate the effectiveness of JIT for so and so business. So if they ask for small business, you have to consider the advantages and disadvantages and see which overweighs. Are the do advantages weigh the disadvantages, or because of bad relationships with suppliers, small businesses might not be able to use JIT at all, and they should go with holding high stocks instead. But for large business, perhaps you might have to, whatever the circumstances given, you need to use your logic and your understanding of JIT to determine if it is viable to adopt JIT or not in every situation, for every particular situation that is given. Okay, so that's all for today, and thanks for watching. Allah Hafiz. With this we have finished our unit 4 operations.